Hey everybody, it's been a while. I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and today, and for however many other videos, it's probably going to be to this one and maybe one more. We're going to finish the new testing promotion section policy letter from the 28th of October 1960. I know I already did part one, so this is going to cover the rest of it. We're going to do that this week and next week before we move back to the data series. And then once we get there, we're going to go through one policy letter and then start, do the next unboxing, throw that out. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. So we were on roughly page 3, so we were here. So let's just get this started.
Tests are marked and filed as follows. The whole file goes around with the person during interviews. 2 copies of the profile and the E-meter assessment only, the IQ figures being on the profile, are made in addition to the original. One of these goes to the D of P,
That's the director of processing,
who sends it to the auditor or the academy for a student, and which is then sent to CF at the end of processing or training. The other copy is a flimsy, which goes to St. Hill, accompanied only by airmail weight auditor's reports. The registration personnel may not keep the large original tests. This goes back at conclusion of interview to the test section and is filed there.
Okay, so registration doesn't keep the original copies. These go back to the test section.
Each CF folder must contain a copy of each profile with its IQ and E-meter assessment that the person has taken. Every piece of original testing papers and E-meter assessment is retained in test files. There is no other complete test file than in the test section. A cross-index file card system is kept by Test in Charge to show every auditor with a card for each PC audited. This permits an examination of the broad work of any auditor. Tests are otherwise filed alphabetically in filing cabinets by the last name of the PC. The tests are the property of HCO, Hubbard Communications Office, as are the mailing lists, but are accumulated, kept, and used by the Hubbard Association of Scientologists International,
which is actually now known as the IAS, the International Association of Scientologists, which is David Miscavige's baby.
Everything must be done to make testing prominent, accurate, and available. The test section as an entrance point to service must look crisp and efficient. Waiting must be cut to nothing. There is no virtue in telling the applicant how fast they can be marked. Stress how carefully they're marked and the expertness of evaluation.
And there is no expertise behind evaluation. It's all crap anyway.
By having local designation, the reg can apportion interview time, calling the people in to even out the reg schedule. It doesn't matter if a local waits a week to be called in. The point is not to make anyone wait an hour in the office for testing or evaluation. In the case of an X, he or she is probably in town just to be tested, so an X is always recalled fast. Students can be shunted a bit, as they can always be called out of class during the week. The body reg should have special baskets for test marked local, ex-urban, HGC, and student. The body reg must never just have piles of tests or scattered papers. By having baskets for these in a beanstalk stack of trays behind him or her, other PRR personnel can ease in and take handfuls of them to do interviews when they have time if the traffic is heavy. In the case of more than one body reg, types of interviews possibly can be apportioned around amongst registrars such as men, women, local, ex-urban, etc. A slip as to the status and outcome of the reg interview must be attached to the main test file by the interviewing personnel. The PE Foundation test administration should be shifted into the test section, and the tests given should be the same as all others now. PE.
Again, that's personal efficiency.
Tests can be given in the PE room, but to all intents and purposes are wholly the business of the test IC. A PE instructor becomes part of the test section if he administers tests. The PE People's E-meter assessment can be done in PE as it's rapid, but on a test night, assistance will have to be given. This is all up to the test IC. No aftertest is given to PE hereafter by reason of there being PE people, but PE people can come in for an aftertest. Promotion of tests. The designation of the test section for publicity purposes should be the New York Test Clinic or the Melbourne Test Clinic,
which is vague as shit. They don't want to say that they have anything to do with Scientology. I'm not surprised.
The The word free is not included in the title or inferred, but no charge is ever made for tests or assessments. Announcements of the clinic may be sent out broadly to the mailing list or firms. In the announcement is included pieces of paper nicely printed that say somewhat as follows. The New York Test Clinic extends an invitation to you to be tested free of any charge. Your intelligence and aptitude have everything to do with your income, your future, your personal relationships, and your life. Such tests would ordinarily cost you $50.
I'm curious as to what tests they're referring to. Are they just talking about IQ tests and aptitude tests? Is that what's $50? Because it may not tell you anything about your income or your personal relationships.
They're offered to you free of charge if you bring this slip with you.
And if you didn't bring the slip with you, would you still get charged for it? I don't think so.
If you're not happy with life, you can find out why. Name, address, and phone number. An entirely different kind of slip would go to a Scientologist.
So the one we saw above was for people in the public that are not Scientologists at the moment.
A third kind would go to a firm, such as New York Test Clinic. This will entitle one employee to an aptitude and intelligence test and an evaluation of the test, with the employee's name, address, phone, and company named. Many other offerings of tests can be broadly made to teachers, firemen, military personnel, etc., each with a different covering letter or test slip. If HCO and PRR forthrightly plans out such mailings, makes them look good, and sees that HASI has the service there, a broad new expansion can be made easily. This is vital in view of the anatomy of the human mind promotion I am working on, which will come later.
All right, I think we're going to do this one last section.
Some public difficulty could be encountered by orgs in doing this unless it's done properly. We're overtly cutting the psychologist off. He has only his test line to offer. All his gains have been in the field of testing. All his cash is received via tests and his opinions of people and some tricks for training or selling. A free test activity does the psychologist out of a job.
It doesn't.
We would gladly hire psychologists if our experience with them were not bad in the test field. They have rattled people being tested for us, thrown curves at them, slanted tests, and failed to duplicate. The actual test environment must be calm and quiet and always the same. The evaluation must be smooth and done in other quarters by other people. Testing and evaluation of tests are two different things. The psychologist has mixed them up while working for us, thus upsetting test results. There's no law anywhere against testing people.
There should be law against using phony tests.
The tests we use should not get us entangled with copyrights. We're already mostly free on this with our tests. We have many more. We also have the old Army Alpha for IQs, which we will get into play now. We can create others. Any broad public invalidation of our test service should be ignored.
Information control. That's what it is. Basically saying these people are liars, so don't listen to them, even if they are telling the truth.
To comment on it to people taking tests who say the tests have been invalidated to them is all right. We're giving free what others charge $50 for. We're a public service organization. Otherwise, don't defend, just test.
So, we are on page 6. We're almost done with page 6, so we've got roughly 2 full pages worth of content. But this will be just in the next video. But I'm just happy to be back. COVID sucked for at least the first 5 or 6 days. I still have yet to regain my sense of taste. So that's fun. And I think that's about it. I'll put the usual Discord links in the description, the channel link to the Q&A, and I will talk to all of you later. I'll see you next week when we finish this policy letter. See ya.